even if you get confused somewhere during the middle, that's okay.
He seems really nice. I wonder why he put Yari here. Lovely guy, beautiful family. Nonsense.
I think that the ninja swords could have existed, because all the methods that are said to have been used are too precise and concrete to be fake.
Yeah, it's pointless nonsense. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. But hey, noble ones! Konnichiwa, welcome back to my channel. This is the Metatron speaking. So today, I found the channel Let's Ask Shogo, your Japanese friend in Kyoto. Goodness gracious, that is a very long name. Anyways, very popular content creator, 1.8 million subscribers, and it's a Japanese, lovely guy, beautiful family, everyone's smiling, I like them already. Now here's the thing, he's a very popular content creator, but I've never watched, that I can think of, any of his videos, but I have heard of him. And I thought, why not? Let's check it out. Dozo yoroshiku onegaishimasu. Why we'll never understand Japanese? That could be interesting. I would never do that. Katana trainee, yes, because he's a Yaido guy, isn't he? Yaido is not a martial arts, not realistic. Says a Yaido guy. Appreciate the intellectual honesty. I mean, there are some realistic aspects of it, but ryokan taboos must watch before staying at the ryokan hotel in Japan. I have stayed in one. Unexpected answers from Japan's most renowned interviewer, must watch before buying Yaito. That could be good. A guide from a professional that teaches you. Focusing on length, that makes sense. Length, I believe, depends on your height. So a katana for someone who is like 5'8", and then if you give it to someone who's 6'1", that could be a little strange. Oh, he reacted to sellswords arts. Pretty nice. Ninja versus shinobi. Oh, I'm so gonna watch this. Will ChatGPT give the right answers? Of course not. I found one about ninjatō. Let's check it out.
Unfortunately, all the swords called ninja swords that exist today were made in the Meiji era after there were no more ninja.
Let's go.
皆さんこんにちは。
Konnichiwa.
And welcome to Let's Ask Shogo. When you imagine a katana, the Japanese sword, you would probably imagine a samurai wielding it.
Yeah.
However, there is one more famous icon that seems to have used the katana too. They are the ninja.
And I mean, Ashigaru. At one point, even some farmers could own swords, which is why the government had to make laws to prohibit them from owning swords. So there's that. I love the little blue ninja there, though. It reminds me of one of those old games for Amiga 500. Like this one, Dragon Ninja. What, you thought I wasn't gonna show you? Come on, you know me better than that. Dragon Ninja, let's go. F1 single player, yes. That's a lot of ninjas.
But when you take a look at the katana held by the samurai and ninja, you can understand that they have different figures and are carried differently too. But how are they actually different? So today, as a Japanese katana sword trainee, I will explain the 3 main differences between...
Japanese do it this way as well? In Europe we do this. I don't think it does Koryu, does it? I could be wrong, but you'll let me know in the comments.
The samurai katana and ninja swords. At the end of the video, I will introduce an interesting theory about the ninja swords.
Please.
That might go against all of today's story. And before I start, please understand that because ninjas were spies in the past, there is not too much concrete historical evidence about them.
Yeah, he's correct. There is some evidence. Like we know they actually existed, but it is difficult to really know 100% and make categorical statements about ninja because then, or shinobi, if we want to use shinobi no mono period terminology, is because, I mean, a lot of the stuff we wouldn't know because intelligence.
Looks like they've completed their jobs pretty neatly. So what I'm going to be talking about today is just one theory. And even if you get confused somewhere during the middle, that's okay.
He seems really nice. Yasashi desu ne.
We'll wrap everything up again at the end of the video in today's conclusion.
すいません。
それでは本日も参りましょう。
参りましょう。Okay.
1. different types of katana. Let's start from the first difference by
Talking about the word katana, I have heard it pronounced in two different ways by Japanese speakers that are speaking Japanese, because I noticed that when he speaks English, by the way, his English is fantastic, but I'm just saying when he speaks English, I see that he's using some Japanese terms pronounced in the English way. Why not? It makes it easier for the audience to understand what he's talking about. I think I've heard people pronounce it katana, which is how I pronounce it, but also katana, and I wonder which one of these two he would use if he were speaking Japanese.
taking a look at what kind of katana the samurai and ninja each used. The samurai, as I've explained in
The same in the way he says samurai rather than samurai, which is the way you say it with the correct pitch. But he's speaking English right now. He does it to make it easier for the Western audience, and particularly Anglophone speakers, to recognize the words. And also at the same time, I think it matches well the flow of his speech in English. It's just that the way I am, I enjoy to at least once during a video, even if you say yari, the yari, here is a yari, the yari was used with it, but there's at least one time I will say yari, yumi, tate, just to pronounce it the way you would in Japanese as a teaching opportunity. But that's just me. I'm not saying he needs to do it. I'm just saying that's how I like doing it.
Video used 7 different katanas throughout Japanese history. They were chokto, tachi.
I mean, I don't know why a yari is here. That's kind of strange, in fact. I don't know why he would consider yari a form of katana, but I think for the rest of the words, you could say, yeah, but a chokto, a tachi, tanto, wakizashi, these are not katana. But I think he's using it in the way, it's not wrong, because in Japan, you could use katana as a general term for sword, a bit like the Romans use the word gladius just to mean sword sometimes, not necessarily that typology, whether it be gladius hispaniensis or Pompeii or Mainz gladius, typical sword used by the Roman legionaries and gladiators. Sometimes they did use the word gladius in the sources just to mean sword. And Japanese people sometimes do use the word katana. I think most people these days will say, when they say katana, they mean specifically Japanese swords, and they mean specifically samurai swords. Although then again, it's not exactly a samurai sword if an Ashigaru can use it who isn't a samurai, but you know what I mean. You also have the kanji for katana in most of these, the only exception being wakizashi. I wonder why he put yari here.
Naginata,
Even naginata.
tanto, uchikatana, wakizashi, and yari.
Yeah, now he's using the Japanese.
There are so many different types of katana because the history of samurai itself is very long. As the way they fought in
Yeah, I would not consider yari and naginata as a type of katana. It's a pole weapon. Like a glaive. I wouldn't really say that a glaive in Europe is a form of sword. And at the same time, you wouldn't say that a spear or a lance are a type or a category of sword. I don't think a yari, therefore, should be considered a type of katana. I don't know why he's categorizing it like this. Not an attack on him, just discussing.
battle changed from individual combat to groups fighting in war.
Yeah.
Their weapons changed accordingly.
Yeah. Cool.
There are many different theories, but the ninja are said to have used different types of katana too.
Yeah.
The straight sword they would carry on their back.
Of course, this type of ninja is not the historical ninja. This is the ninja from pop culture. This is the ninja that we imagine from movies and TV shows, particularly in the 80s, to be honest with you. You know, with the sword on the back and the little ninja outfit, which I love. I always loved the ninja outfits. But a real ninja would be indistinguishable from either a samurai, as he could be part of the samurai class. It's simply that he's performing the job of a ninja or shinobi, so intelligence, or he might be dressed up like a monk. He might be dressed up like a peasant, a farmer. He wouldn't have a distinctive outfit that sets him aside as a spy, because obviously that wouldn't work, right? It would defeat the whole purpose.
Is surely the main type of katana they would probably imagine a ninja using. However, they also used something called a shikomi katana. This is a kind of secret weapon, often in the form of a cane or fan. These katanas were used for missions in places where Japanese swords cannot be brought in.
Okay.
2. Different form. To talk about this topic, we will be comparing the basic uchi katana as the samurai katana and the ninja's swords that are carried on ninja's back.
Which I don't think they did.
There are mainly 3 differences in form. 1. the curve. 2. The length. 3. The tsuba and saya. 1. The curve. As you might have noticed from seeing ninja swords in anime and manga, the first and most obvious difference is whether they're curved or not. Why not curve the ninja swords too? The curves of the katana are meant for a stronger slash when it's swung.
Yeah.
In order to cut something with the sword, you must either push or pull the blade.
Yep, correct.
Otherwise, you would rather be smashing. If you simply
I mean, that exists too as a form of cut. But yeah, draw cuts and push cuts are the most effective way to cut through friction.
swing the blade straight down, the curve automatically makes a swing arc, making it much easier to slash something. However, there is a defect.
Much easier, I don't know, because you have to have a significant curve, and Japanese swords are not significantly curved. They're curved, but they're not incredibly curved as much as like some shamshir or Indian swords. Does it really help when it comes to the effectiveness of the cut? Can be a little debatable, in fact. Alright, so same old, same old. Is a curved blade better at cutting than a straight blade? Well, if we want to be professional about it, the answer is not yes. The answer is it depends. There is a fundamental difference between straight swords and curved swords in that they meet the target at different angles. Imagine that you're swinging your sword, intending to hit something, then the curved blade will more often meet the target at a slant rather than perpendicularly. What that means is that the effective angle of the edge as it's meeting the target is reduced to a smaller angle. However, rather than thinking about this in purely physics terms, we have to take into consideration the actual swordsmanship involved. So, a real advantage that curved swords have against straight swords is that when you hit a person, you want, as a swordsman, or your object or blade to not stop as you hit. In other words, you hit in such a way that it cuts and draws through and out, so your weapon is free again to hit the target one more time, parry, protect yourself, what have you. Having a curved blade indeed does facilitate that drawing motion. That's also one of the reasons why curved blades are often in history associated with cavalry, as mounted forces do want to hit something and carry on moving as the blade passes through. But we shouldn't really think that curved swords always cut better than straight swords. The result of the impact with the human body will have different ramifications, and there will be pros and cons on both construction methods. A medieval European falchion, for instance, say of the 13th century design, is definitely a cutting-centric sword. However, it's straight. What that means is that the handle is going to be in line with the blade, and what that translates to in actual operation is that when the blade hits, it will be in line with the hand and the lever in motion. That is an advantage that straight swords have over curved swords. That is because the curve can often be behind the line of leverage. So basically you hit slightly after when your hand naturally expects to hit as a result. This is in fact mitigated by designs such as the copies, the falcata, where the blade can be protruding forward in front of the line of leverage to compensate for that. Not to mention that the falchion itself has better chopping capabilities but reduced drawing capabilities. So, as with everything, you can't say that one is better than the other a priori. It very much depends on the context in which you intend to use that sword, whether it's on horseback, whether you're on foot, the type of opponent you're fighting, how they're equipped, are they wearing armor, are they not wearing armor, what weapon are they using, are you going to use it in combination with a shield. So to sum it up, both straight blades and curved blades have pros and cons when it comes to their cutting and thrusting capabilities.
It makes it difficult to stab something with it. So this means that the samurai katana were meant for slashing, and the ninja swords were meant for stabbing.
I can disagree a little bit on that as well. At the end of the day, you can perfectly stab with a katana, even though it's slightly curved. In fact, it's not only done in kenjutsu, but it's also done in kendo. Through the kendo is using a shinai. Stabbing the throat, for instance, is still a viable target in kendo for the tsuki. You can't stab the chest anymore, but you used to be able to in older rule sets. You can perfectly stab with a katana. It's just that, yes, I imagine a straighter sword might be better for thrusts.
If the ninja were ever to use their swords to attack someone, the expected situation is to stab the enemy from somewhere hidden, perhaps from under the floor. They would hardly have any occasions of swinging their swords to slash someone like these samurai did.
Well, this sounds very speculative, Shogo. I don't mean to be disrespectful because I think you're really cool. But if I think something isn't really founded or grounded on sources or iconography, I'll say it. I don't mean to be disrespectful, of course. It's just that it sounds very speculative, like... The only situation in which I can agree is if the supposed shinobi needs to fight in a corridor. But already if a shinobi needs to fight, it means he did something wrong, because spies are there to gather intelligence, or spies may be used to perform an assassination, although they were not trained assassins. But yeah, they could be asked to do that. But if you're performing an assassination, you're not going there to fight on the battlefield. You're going there to possibly get the enemy when he's not ready. In fact, you could even poison them to death rather than have to fight. But if you do have to fight, it means probably the shinobi did something wrong. But regardless of that, if that happens, yeah, if you're in a corridor, in a small room, then it's going to be difficult to swing, like you're saying, but it would be difficult for a katana-wielding samurai too at that point. But if you are in the courtyard, for instance, so you were intercepted as you are going around, and then you get to fight near the forest, for instance, then yeah, you could totally use and slash with a katana as much as, with a ninjatō. Even though then again, the ninjatō, I don't think there is any historical evidence that it existed as a specialized sword for ninja. Maybe that is his point at the end. He's going to say, but guys, all of this, just keep in mind, there's no coherent connection between the shinobi and these straight ninjatō, which, I mean, straight swords existed in period. There is iconography for it. There is in fact the iconography that shows straight swords with square tsuba. They exist. So the sword existed, it's just that it's not in connection in iconography with the ninja, necessarily. It's just in connection sometimes with Ashigaru, low-ranking samurai. It's possible that it was a cheaper version, that's my opinion. But then again, if it exists, it means that there is a non-zero chance that maybe one of the historical shinobi did end up using one of these. It's just that it's not going to be a specialized, specifically designed sword for ninja, because then otherwise, the moment a shinobi steps into a village or of the opposing clan, or they are stopped and searched, it's like, say that they are near a castle and they find that, it's like, oh, ninja. So yeah, I think it could be very coherent to say that any personage, historical personage of feudal Japan that was engaged in intelligence operations, spying and counter-spying, would have used any weapon, and probably some would have been trained in the usage of the weapon, particularly if they were members of the Bushi class. But you could have well had a spy who technically is a ninja, but he's a linguist, or like an expert of Buddhism who's been sent to the opponent's clan to gather information. At that point,
that would make them stand out too much.
Yes.
We will be talking more about the usage of each sword in the next chapter.
Cool.
2. The length. The length of the ninja swords was about 40 centimeters. The basic uchikatana was about 70 centimeters average. So the ninja swords was about the length of the sub-sword, wakizashi. That is, in between the length of 30 to 60 centimeters. The short length and also the straight form was both to avoid hitting and catching obstacles, such as trees and walls when running.
Yeah, I've heard people say that. I think it's nonsense.
3. The tsuba and saya. The tsuba is this ring between the blade and the handle.
He just proved me wrong. He used the correct pronunciation with the pitch using the word. Great, nice, love it.
It was meant for protecting the hand holding the handle in the fight.
Yeah.
And balancing the weight of the blade and the handle. The saya is the sheath or scabbard of the katana. While these items of the samurai katana are considered as art that have different shapes and beautiful colors, the ones of the ninja swords are usually pure black and matted. This is to avoid these parts of the sword to reflect light and stand out to the enemies.
I think better than black, if you want to achieve that, maybe a dark matte blue, if that was really the thing they wanted to achieve, would have made more sense, rather than a lacquer, than a full black lacquer. I don't think black is the best color to hide in the night. And before we move into this, I'm gonna skip the different usage because, I always do this during my react video so that you have a reason to go and check out the original video, give him the like and give him the view. So I will skip this entire section, but you'll find a link to the video in the description below and the pinned comment. But I do want to see if what he says about ninja swords didn't exist. I'm interested to see that. I personally would have started with that.
And lastly, let's talk about a theory that will turn today's story all over. Ninja swords didn't exist. Then Shogo, what the heck have you been talking about today? This theory is supported by some people because of these two reasons. 1. There are hardly any documents about the ninja swords. 2. The ones that exist today were just made for display. First of all, again, the ninjas were spies.
Yep.
So there aren't too many historical records of them left in the first place, especially on the ninja swords. On the other hand, there are documents left of famous ninja clans like Iga and Koga, who used the samurai katana instead. Then what about the ninja swords that are on display at some of the museums in Japan? Unfortunately, all the swords called ninja swords that exist today were made in the Meiji era after there were no more ninja.
Yep.
They were created for the purpose of displays at tourist facilities.
Yep.
So the ninja swords might be a mere imaginary weapon.
No, I think the weapon exists. It's just that I don't think that it was a ninja sword. It was just a sword.
Or during the creation of virtual images of ninja like anime and manga. What are your thoughts about this?
Yeah, I shared it.
I think that the ninja swords could have existed because all the methods that are said to have been used are too precise and concrete to be fake.
That's pointless nonsense. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but anyone can come up with these theories and ideas, and even if they make logical sense, that doesn't mean that then I will use that to base the foundation of the theory. Now, unfortunately, a theory needs to be founded on sources and evidence, documented evidence. The fact that you just stated there is no documented evidence whatsoever that all of these things were true, in fact, it doesn't even make logical sense, because a lot of the stuff that they say doesn't even make logical sense. As if, for instance, the idea of a specialized ninja attire, specialized ninja sword, and where you wear it, all of that stuff oftentimes doesn't even make sense because it will make it so difficult for them to do their job. Sorry, but that's not scientific as a method. Just because you think it's precise and concrete, anyone can make up a story that is precise and concrete, and it could still absolutely be fake.
Maybe not every ninja held these katana, but there should have been some who did. Let's hope they did. Because ninja swords are simply really cool.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I really like that. But they can be cool without having to try and push it as something real. I personally don't believe that there was a specialized ninja sword. It just doesn't make sense even logically. And then, once again, but I do believe that a sword that looks a bit like the ninjatō did exist because iconography shows it. And that's as far as I'm willing to go.
Lastly, today's conclusion. I explained about the 3 main differences between samurai katana and ninja swords. 1. Different
Well, okay, I don't need the whole thing. Anyways, I liked the thing because he's really nice. It's just that I disagreed a lot, but that doesn't mean that I hate him or that I want him to be cancelled or anything like that. I'm just doing what I do. So still, thank you very much, Shogo, for the interesting video. It was fun. It was a fun watch. And I will definitely keep watching your channel and recommend it to my community. And if any of you enjoyed what you were seeing today, absolutely go check him out, finish the video, and I'm sure that he has a lot more content that it's similar to this for what I could see that you might find entertaining and interesting. Thank you very much for watching, Noble Ones, and remember, the Metatron has spread his wings. Bye. If you're enjoying this video so far, please take a moment to check out my Patreon page. With as little as a $5 support, you can help us ensure that we can continue to produce high quality and high researched content. And at the same time, you get access to polls, extra videos, unlisted streams, and much more. Thank you so much.